At least it wasn't me calling you the wrong name this time.
No.
It's okay, my dad still doesn't know his name.
He should really put his name on the business card. It'd make life a
probably
lot
should.
easier.
Back up. I don't want to roll over that. Your dad doesn't know his name. Like your dad knows his name.
My dad's done every single spelling that there possibly could be of Corey, even with like Kori. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
How does
I
that
don't
make
know.
you feel, Corey?
It doesn't bother me.
I'm gonna write this down in my
Normal.
book of things to do to my daughter. I can tell you right now. I'm like, I think it's intentional what he's doing.
My dad still messes me up with the dog, so
That could be good or bad.
Yeah, so we're doing a little short intro here. We got Kim and Corey Stiegler with Rough Cut Company. We actually recorded a podcast when we were back at Wisconsin Bear Hunters Association that we've held on to, waiting for you guys to get us some cutting boards made, because we talked about this afterwards, the podcast. What took so long?
They're busy.
it took us also.
Put you on the spot right now.
Probably design changes and logistics and all that other
I'd say it was
stuff.
the bear paw, to be honest. The bear paw seemed to cause everyone stress.
Yeah.
We were a little particular.
That's all right.
So we don't have them yet because they're in the mail, but they'll show up here by the time this podcast launches, I assume, Jason.
Yep, says so.
We'll have them. What did you? So what do we like? It's taken so long. You guys have taken so long to get us this product. What do we start with? What do we got, Jason?
Oh, jeez.
Well, there's a
Is it
tree
hot
growing-
over there, guys? I mean, is it right? Am I?
They're growing the tree custom for these cutting boards.
Yep.
Well, we used the cherry wood from my parents' land that they've had for years over by their cabin on the west side of the state.
Okay.
So the trees I used to frolic under as a kid. That's what these cutting boards are made from.
She's
They
got a
make 'em.
job in marketing. Can I tell you that right now?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's how much craftsmanship went into each of these. Each one just hand done perfectly. Corey was very precise, making sure that these suckers are going to last. I mean,
Okay.
they're not going to crack or warp or anything, are they?
Well, as long as someone takes care of them.
Well, what design? Yeah, that's not going to happen around me. But it's a good problem to have because I'll have to buy one next year. Anyways, what designs did we end up going with?
So we got bear track, lion track, set of bobcat tracks going down the board, set of dog tracks, and then your Hound Girl logo.
The Hound Girl, yeah.
Well, we're not going to call it. Whoa! We're not going to call it the Hound Girl logo now.
But he's changing things.
The hound dog
you're not-
face.
Yeah,
Girl
well,
farm.
we're it's a hound. It started with the Hound Girl logo, but we looked at that design and we're like, man, there's no need for that to be associated with a girl only, because it's an image of a hound, right?
But he
It's a
likes
great
it
image.
so much. He wants to bring it out other places.
That's my favorite one. Like
Yeah. The dog's
one-
name is Julep, if you'd like to know.
Julep.
Yeah.
Good name.
Yeah, I remember when we had that design made.
That
Brenna
is a good
Carlisle
name.
did it.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we call it Hound Girl logo, then it kind of boxes it into a corner. So it's the logo that was designed for that, but it's basically an art of a hound, the side profile of a hound, right?
Mhm.
So that actually turned out really cool. Whenever you first said, "Oh, the Hound Girl logo would work pretty good on this," I'm thinking,
He told me it would not, and it was a horrible idea. Is what
I
he
did.
said.
That's
Like, no joke.
like,
No sense. Just like the bear paw again. Just like the bear
I'm
paw.
telling you, if
No,
you can
it's
speak
competitive.
about
no,
it,
the bear claw
you're doing
was fine.
good.
The bear claw was fine. I was thinking like, we're gonna put a logo. It's like I just don't think like putting a W Hunting Supply logo with the name and everything on a cutting board. I was like, that's kind of freaking tacky or egotistical to think somebody would want to put our logo in. Now, the trademark portion, the actual dogs, that I think carries some weight. I mean, it has a sense of class in it. So when Jason was talking about doing the Hound Girl logo, I was thinking it's going to say Hound Girl and it's going to have the logo, and I'm like, damn, Jason, that's a little rough, don't you
No.
think?
No. I'm simple. I like clean, basic, elegant. exactly what that dog is and why it represented Hound Girl.
Yeah,
and now
so-
it's branching out.
Again.
So just so what people are thinking, when we say the word Hound Girl logo on a cutting board, we're not putting the full logo on. We're just putting the image of a stenciled out hound. And it's too bad we can't show this on a podcast, but when you go to our website now that we look at it, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. So
Yep.
to recap, you got a bear, we got a lion, we got a bobcat, and we decided to go with it's small tracks. So there's a couple. That's
It's
the
a
one
set.
that's the one that caught my eye was the bobcat one. So we
Mhm.
kind of did the one just like that. Except my bobcat one. Have you made any more of those?
No,
Perfect.
It's
you have
retired.
the only one.
The only one, and I don't even have the one with the logo, our little running dogs logo on that, because you didn't put that in the first one, did you?
Nope.
Send it back.
Probably
and for
a
a
good-
small processing fee. We can make that happen.
Small processing fee.
Could you put the word W? And my life would really appreciate if I had like the words W in the cutting board.
Yeah, right.
I'm joking.
she would.
So we got the bobcat one, and then we got the dog tracks, which we thought would have been a good one. It's more generic. And then the side profile of the hound. So those are the 5 cutting boards that we're going to start with.
Yep.
How difficult were they for you guys to get all that done for us?
It wasn't too bad. We kept running out of clamps, but we'll get some more clamps. And then when we poured all the resin, we had our whole balcony was laid out with cherry and maple cutting boards. So
Yeah. Well, the kids aren't allowed up on the balcony. That's why.
Okay.
Otherwise,
thank
you'd
you.
have fingerprints throughout everything. So that's really the best open area.
yeah,
we
that's the only space we have.
Good thing you're not in that 800 square foot house anymore, huh?
Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, we'd have to evacuate the children for a couple days to pour the resin. Yes.
Yep.
We had speaking of that, we did some painting on our house one time. We painted the cabinets, and we had the dog walk right over the top of the paint, and my wife just kept. It was perfect because she's like, well, so for the longest time, and it was Dia. That dog's with us no more, but that was my wife's house dog. But for the longest time, we had like dog prints in the paint on our.
I always thought
cabinets.
that was funny that so like Buddy and I pretty much have lived parallel really similar paths between Laura and Buddy and Start and W and my wife and I with our business, even down to the dog Dia. My house dog and one of the best dogs I've ever owned was Dio.
Dio.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
we thought that was the funniest thing when we came to meet you guys. I
I've
remember
never heard
that
of the
was
name, so-
conversation. You've never heard of Dio?
No.
No.
Ronnie James Dio?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, now you have homework.
No, I
Check
don't.
that box off the list. Rainbow in the Dark?
Nope.
Holy Diver?
No.
Oh man, if I could sing, I'd rock
Go
your
ahead.
socks right now. No,
That's right. Oh,
I did on
wait.
one episode. April Fools. You can go back and listen to it.
Okay. So we got this podcast. I kind of took a glance over. It's like 40 minutes. We hope everybody enjoys it. Jason, how much are these podcasts or not podcasts? With these cutting boards, I think we're going to be at 110
I think that's what we
at
came in at.
dusupply.com. Kim, Corey, are you guys ready to make more?
Totally.
Yep.
If we sell
All
2
set.
of these, we're gonna have to try to call you guys back and do more. So, and then how is your guys's? We talk a little bit about you guys taking photos and engraving and stuff like that. Where can people find you for that, real quick?
They can go right to roughcutcompany.com.
What's the
And
best
it's
way
really
to get a hold
easy
of you
to do.
guys? Email, text. Do you want your personal phone number? Facebook.
No.
What do you guys?
Don't call me.
Don't call.
Don't call me. Right on the website, actually, it's really easy to work with us on that. But otherwise, if people did need questions, it's just roughcutcompany@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
We got a cutting board. You can choose what cutting board you want. W Hunt Supply. If you listen to this podcast and you decide you want to have a photo custom engraved inside a piece of wood, it's just some really cool stuff they do. You go to their website, roughcutcompany.com, roughcutco.com, or what do you say? I was
Cut
Company.
Company.
All
Company.
spelled out.
All spelled
Yep.
out. .com.
Go there, and then the other thing that I want to ask you really quick was, what about you getting those gravestones or rocks engraved for your
Memorials?
dogs? You done any
We've-
thinking on that?
We've been looking into that, and I'm learning a lot about stones. But
There's a lot about rocks. What are you
learning
learning?
a lot about
There's
rocks.
big ones and little ones.
There's more to rocks than you'd believe.
So the two things that whenever we kind of brainstormed after Wisconsin is I think these cutting boards may or may not be cool. Maybe people think they don't not cool. I like them. They look really sharp. They're clean. We try to keep them classy, not putting the branding or names and words on them. We just use images that kind of would fit in. The other thing that I told you I've been wanting to try to do is I want to find a way that we can memorialize our dogs, so that it could be like, hey, here's what a rock or something that I can engrave and put a dog's name on, and maybe the dates or something like that. I always, every time unfortunately, as being a houndsman, you kind of go through dogs sometimes more than other families. And so there's just situations like, that dog was a pretty special dog. So I always plant a tree. So I got this little bush over here that's Copper's tree, and I got a tree
we
over
do the
here,
same thing.
Penny, and it'd be just nice to have something that was weatherable, that I could do it. So my thought was, could you, elaborate on that? Basically a headstone for a dog, but I don't want to pay headstone prices for a dog. So
Right.
take it away. What can you figure out for us? Or have you figured out? Or are you still...
We're getting closer.
We're getting closer. We'd actually... So in order to kind of get a nice polished look on everything, we're looking into some equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of need to figure out if that's going to be cost effective for us, or
Are you
what's the
able to
market
find
gonna be.
rocks that you can laser?
Yes. Yep. We can get granite offcuts and stuff, but it's just finding the tools to finish such a small piece.
Yeah. Why do you need to finish it?
You mean to get it?
Because I got
nice
some
and
dogs
polished?
that don't need to be polished. I promise you. Some of the dogs I'm thinking of, if I polished their gravestone, they'd be like, "What the f? Let me polish my shit."
I think just to get a nice, clean engraving on it.
Yeah. So you got to
You know-
polish it before the engraving, is what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes more sense. I thought you were having to polish it afterwards. So, anyways, you're not quite there yet, but you can get that laser to go deep enough to make a good enough mark, and it's going to hold up to weather.
I think so. I mean, we're putting some stuff through the ringer right now, and we're going to see if we can.
We're testing it out. Basically, we're throwing them outside. We're throwing them in the freezer. We're, having the kids whack them a few times. So,
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, we want them to last, So,
Yeah,
right.
when we talked about it, diesel wasn't $6 a gallon either. So that,
I want to know what you engraved on the test stone
yeah. What
that you're
was your
testing.
test?
What's on it?
hit here.
What is it?
Hit here.
Hit here.
Yeah, for the kids.
Give the kids a chance to beat on it.
Yeah.
I see.
That's funny.
Interesting. I want to know
No,
what made you
Corey
think.
engraved my dog's name on it.
Yeah.
Or he's got an odd relationship with Duke. So it's Duke's headstone.
Pre-death
Did he pass
gravestone.
away?
He's paid ahead. He's
Did
ready
you
to go.
Did Duke pass away then?
No.
Not yet. Not
No,
yet.
he's
You've already
prepping.
made the stone for.
He's getting ready.
He's a border collie. He's a
How
border
does Duke
collie.
feel?
Not-
I want to know what Duke thinks when he walks by that headstone. 'Cause that's actually a pretty good idea. I think I'm going to do that. Can I get one of those
Just
for every
have 'em
one of
ready.
my dogs?
yes, we'll pre-sell.
Just point at it. You watch
Every
it,
time I'll
dog.
park my truck right next to him. So there's going to be a set of rocks right there. And every time I'll point at the rocks, I'm like, get in the truck, Della. And when I'm pointing at that truck, I'll be like,
Pick a hole. Dog box or that one.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
Oh,
Anyways.
that's awesome.
that's
No,
funny.
I would just say, like, speaking of the memorial stones, the photo engraving that you did for me, I know you did one for Buddy too. at
Yes, thank you,
Wisconsin.
by the way.
like everybody does need to go check you guys out, Rough Cut Company, because it is super cool. And we had actually just had to put that dog down right after I got home from Wisconsin. So it was really special. And I really appreciate it.
Good. Glad you guys liked them.
Thanks to sober it up, Jason. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no
We
problem.
was having a good time. We was laughing, and then you got to talk about a real
good.
dead dog. Like we were
Now we
talking
get
about
to
fake
roll.
dead dogs, and now you got to talk. You got to bring in the real dead dog.
Sorry. That's what I
Oh,
do.
man.
It was a nice gesture. I like these people. Is there a problem?
Ugh. Well,
That's a good segue into the whole episode on the whole backstory of the company
Exactly.
and
Yep.
how this all transpired real time. And there was a lot of bouncing around. There was
Yeah.
some brainstorming on this one.
Yeah, so we'll switch it up here, and we're gonna switch back the time as you listen to this. We'll have a little transition music here, and just think that we're recording now. Afterwards, it's these cutting boards are available on dusupply.com. They're pretty damn awesome. We got some good. Thank you for the early pictures of them and stuff like that. Looked like you did a good job.
Yeah, you're a great photographer.
And then
Thanks.
we'll roll into your episode here, and anybody who wants to support you guys can find you online, and we will talk with you guys soon.
All
Awesome.
right, sounds good.
Chat later.
If we don't start now, we just keep talking. We're gonna talk without the podcast. So we're recording now. We got.
That's how the best ones always start.
we already
missed
talked.
the good part in the first 10 minutes we didn't record.
Yeah, if we could just back up and record. I should just hit the record button as soon as we go. Let me kill some air here. Introduce yourself. I forgot names. Jason, I remember your name.
Half the time. Not even all the time, and I've worked here 5 years.
Well, we're Kim and Corey Sigler.
Kim and Corey.
Yep.
And what do you guys are? So we're here at WBHA. I walked around the booth like I normally do every week. This is your first time vending here because I haven't seen your guys' stuff.
First time here.
So I was walking around the vendors and just kind of looking and seeing what was new, and I seen a cutting board, which is a pretty badass cutting board. It had a cat track going up the center. What kind of wood is that?
That's hard maple and walnut.
Hard. Okay, well,
All from Wisconsin.
see,
Locally sourced.
Locally sourced, yes.
And local and ethically, right? Like, let's sales
exactly.
pitch it.
Organic.
Organic.
There you go.
All natural.
Free range.
Correct.
well, what you didn't know was my wife broke our cutting board. So we had a couple cutting boards. It was a pack that we got for Christmas or something. I don't know what. It didn't have this cool design, a cat track going through it, but it had broken, and she was all bummed out about it. And so I was in my garage. I had one of those what do you call it, a planer, like a
Mhm.
DeWalt. It's a hand planer.
Okay.
Well, I mounted that upside down in my vise because I don't have like the wood
Oh, there you
planers.
go.
So I was gonna like,
Hillbilly did.
so I'm like locking the trigger to keep the thing going. It's not safety approved.
Yeah, OSHA would have a fit.
Oh man! And so I'm trying to plane that shit and trying to get it straight, and I can't get the board straight. And I was gonna glue it back together for my wife, and I never got those things to join up right. And
It's because it wasn't walnut.
I guess so.
Yeah, it'd be pretty impressive if she broke our cutting boards. I mean, those are pretty sturdy things. So.
Yeah. Well, this was a good. I mean, it lasted. I bet you 6 years, 7 years.
Look at
It was
me.
a
I don't
while,
know.
but-
I don't live with you.
Anyways, long story short, we just broke a cutting board, and then I was walking around, and there's this cutting board with a cat track going right up the middle, and I was like, dude, I've never seen anything like that. That's geared more towards our lifestyle, you know what I mean? And so I told him, I was like, that one's sold. I bought that one, and I told you, I said, you can keep it on your desk here or your booth. Just don't let anybody else buy it. Anybody try to buy that one yet?
Yeah, but they've been eyeing it up.
Don't sell it.
Tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the test.
Buddy's going to be hanging out.
He's going to be watching with binoculars from the booth because we can barely see you guys.
Yeah.
So
Should we introduce the name of the company, though,
Yeah,
so people know
absolutely.
who we're talking about?
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
It would.
We're Rough Cut Company.
Rough Cut.
Rough Cut Company, and that stems from our original pieces were made using some rough cut cedar right off our farm,
Right.
so family farm. So playing around with names, and Corey came up with it. He's like, "Well, it's Rough Cut Wood. Why don't we just name it Rough Cut
It's
Company?"
easy like that. You name
It's
it easy,
That's
and then it's you don't forget it.
Yeah. I want you guys to separate up just a little bit. I think we're picking up some bleed over. You guys are still in love. How long have you guys been married?
I don't know.
Well,
You guys want to sit
almost
next to
Since
each other?
2016.
2000, was that? Yes.
Yeah,
well,
see,
we've
you
known
guys
each
are
other
still-
since middle school, so
Oh, okay.
we were hunting buddies, and somehow we ended up married with 4 kids.
Okay. That sounds good.
somehow,
Somehow.
just somehow
It
it happened.
just happened.
I
What
don't
kind of
know how-
hunt do you guys do?
Everything.
Pretty much start with bears in July and end whenever the snow ends.
Right on.
And so you guys haven't been to this before, this convention?
I've been here before. We've never been a vendor here.
Oh, okay, just first year vending.
So, yep.
then. And you guys started this Rough Cut company how long ago?
In 2016, I started fiddling around with a wood burner and
Like a hand burner?
hand burner. And then it took me too long to hand burn the amount of that I needed. So I told Corey, I'm like, hey, let's get a engraving machine. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. Thing took up most of the space in our 700 square foot home.
Oh man.
Yeah, people thought we were crazy. We actually had to bring it through the big bay window in the front.
Oh.
Had the whole family do it. And yeah, it grew from there. Moved and got some new equipment and
So
Corey.
you moved out of that house?
moved out of that
Yes.
house.
Yep.
Yes,
4
with 4
kids in a
kids.
700 square foot house. Let me do the math
It
here.
doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. My house was it was 900 square foot, and when we started, and it had a converted garage that made it 1100. You know, they didn't have a garage, and I'd tell my wife, I was like, I just want a place to like work on a truck. I didn't have a,
Yeah.
and it sucks when you're that small of a house and that small. You can't keep nice things because you can't store them. So like your lawnmower sitting out in the rain, and you know, I mean, it's a lot of things like that you don't realize that with the small houses. And I am really glad that I raised my kids in that small house. I mean, I think it's important to do that. But boy, when we built a new house, it was like, okay, we got some room. We might have got a little too big on some of these places. So it was like, I told them, I had that ceiling, you know, that 7-foot ceiling, whatever. I told the contractor, I said, I don't want to freaking touch a ceiling fan ever again. Like, I don't want my
Yes.
hand hitting the ceiling fan. I don't want my hat hitting the ceiling fan. Oh, so anyway, so that brings back memories. I like to hear people who like starting that humble where you got to bring the machine through your bay window. Because it
Yeah.
won't fit.
Yes,
It's like,
you
well,
ask any of our family. I mean, we had everyone there, both sets of parents,
Yeah.
brothers.
That's
I
a
mean,
heavy machine, too.
It was, it
do
was
they
a
think it
hum-
was crazy when they're like, hey,
They
you
did. They thought we were crazy, and now look at this is what we do full time, both of us. So
you have a shop now, or what's your setup now?
yep.
Yep.
So we have
2-stall garage is our shop, and
Perfect.
big area downstairs in the basement's kind of where the laser machine is, the packaging, all that. And yeah, we have a full-time employee and part-time and still growing. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, like I said, everybody looks sometimes at W and you see this brand, you know what I mean, that we've built, and it's awesome. Like but it starts, like I tell people, like you don't see the starts of things, and that's so
Yeah.
important sometimes is to see. So anyway. So we were talking over there at your booth, and I was like, hey, would you guys, you know, we were talking about maybe carrying it, and so we talked about this podcast, and we got our gear here. So I'm really glad we got you on here. What was the first thing that made you? I mean,
What was the first thing you did?
yeah, when you got the laser, what was the first thing you graved?
Oh gosh.
I love Corey.
I screwed up a sign that said hello. Took a while to figure it took a while to figure it out. Actually, it was funny because the first time I did one of a dog,
Mhm.
engraved a dog, was actually by hand, and it was Corey's Vizsla Pappy, who he won.
Oh Lord.
What is that?
we did NAVDA with them, and we went
Right.
all the way to the Invitational, and
There's a special
that.
spot for you if you've ever owned a Vizsla.
Yes.
That is like a different dog.
Something all of its own.
Yes.
So that's where that started. And then, well, we got the laser machine. We were just doing typical signs. And then one day I came up to Corey. I'm like, pets, what do you think? And Corey just looked at me. He's like, sounds crazy. I mean,
that's a stupid idea.
then pretty much.
Stupid got you a full-time employee.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't think I don't bring that up once in a while.
Sorry, Corey.
But yeah, it just took off, you know? I mean, why not? I mean, our pieces bring your pet alive or that moment alive, you know, whether it's an old photograph or a new one, whether it's a person or a pet or a place, because you can feel the texture, you can feel the dog. I have people who they touch it and they're like, they just melt, so.
Yeah, the pet business is, I mean, it's insane sometimes what people do for pets, And within the hound, the dogs have always been a tool. Not always, but a lot of times been a tool, and that's been changing. I mean, it's been something
There's a
that's been
shift.
shifting, and so I think even, people still kill outside, and there's two old school ways of thinking. So I'm not saying everybody is like, oh, my pet, my hunting pet, but it is different. It is the money that people spend on their animals and stuff like that. And so one of the things that you guys do, for the listener that doesn't know what we're talking about, is they have a laser machine, and it engraves the wood, so it
Burns it. Yep.
Yeah,
just burns it.
Burns it out, and in a real precise manner that it darkens some. Just think of like a decal, but it's a really detailed decal that you can see the face of it,
multidimensional,
and it makes a picture on wood, which is really cool. And you guys do those in what different sizes?
Yep. It ranges from 4x6 to 12x16, and then we use all wood from Wisconsin that we either cut and saw ourselves or locally sourced, and then the frames are made with beautiful walnut frames. Corey brought that one on. He really's made a difference as far as the quality and craftsmanship. So all the craftsmanship I honor him with. He's definitely the one mastermind with that.
You're the
We
computer
try.
girl that messes up the hello sign.
I'm the one that messes up hello. Yes.
Can you make a hello sign now though?
I can. Quite efficiently, yes.
So what's the so if somebody wants to find you guys, let's first, so we're gonna do two things. I think we're gonna I've already decided that we're gonna pick these cutting boards up. Like I wanna come up with a cat version, a bear version, and I think we'll even do a couple coon dogs. And so we're gonna buy those, and by the time this podcast launches, we're gonna have them on our website. I think you guys are okay with that, right?
Yep.
And then I think talking with Jason and you just here before, the photo engraving part is just so difficult for us to be in the business with you guys on that. Like we just kind of ran through the numbers, and it's like you guys are the numbers just don't match up for us to try to sell them on our website. And so I want people to be able to go to your website and get those directly from you, because it's just so much of a pain for them to give us a picture and us to try to get that picture to you. And then it's like that phone game, and be like,
Yep.
yeah, this guy wanted a black ticket or black and tan, and you guys print out a blue ticket. Like, that's a blue ticket. Like that phone, the phone transferring is it could just be messy. And so,
Well, if anything, we'd print out a walker.
yeah, Walker, everything comes back a Walker. I don't understand. This guy's sending a plot, and it just comes back like a Walker. Why does everything look like a Walker? So for on those custom ones, you can take a picture and you send a picture to you.
Yes.
Rough Cut. What's your website?
Roughcutcompany.com.
Roughcutcompany.com, and you will get back a plaque that looks really awesome, and you do proofs and all that kind of stuff.
First, you get a proof. First, you get a confirmation saying, hey, I got your photo. It's going to work great. I make up a proof for you that gives you an idea of what the piece is going to roughly look like. You get to adjust it if you need to or want to. Otherwise, once you approve, we engrave it. We finish it, and we send it to you.
Okay. What's the shipping?
Shipping's free.
Okay. So, and your cost on that, a 4x6 is?
So our 4x6s are $29.
Okay, and the 8x10?
8x10s are roughly
Like $62.50 is what you said, and
Yep.
75. It may change a little bit here and
$75,
there.
depending on tax.
And like I said, I walked by their booth, and it was awesome. Like it was something. I don't want to say that I haven't seen wood laser engraved. I've seen like I got a plaque from Intel before, and I've seen them do that, and so I've looked at that kind of stuff. And I've actually I told you guys I've looked at buying lasers and stuff, but man, that laser shit's expensive, way expensive, and
you need room.
and room.
And you need room.
And,
yes.
Yeah, and then you got to learn how to run the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to run anything. I want to learn how to hunt my dogs more. So
You want to run dogs.
yeah. So we're gonna stay out of the laser business for now because I don't want to deal with it. So we're just gonna let you keep that.
We'll take it.
Thank
You
you.
can have it.
But anyways, so if you're looking for something really cool, like to hang on your wall, an old dog, a memorial, you guys can put dates in there or names. If it was like, hey, this dog that born.
Yep,
like,
we can
sure
do
you could do all
any-
that.
Name, states, anything.
Totally customized.
Yeah.
Front and back.
What do you call that? Just a photo picture or
We call it photo engraving.
photo engraving? Okay. Highly recommend it. Like, get the $75 8x10. You know, like tell them you heard us on the W podcast or whatever. I don't. If you could do something nice for people, figure that out. I don't care. But I want to talk about the cutting boards because we're gonna bring in the cutting boards. I think we're gonna, and hopefully, I think it's just a start. So I want to see these cutting boards that we got. Explain these cutting boards again because I want to.
Yeah, so it's all.
I'm thinking if my wife has a Bobcat one, I don't think anybody else should have one. So you guys gonna?
But he
build
wants the exclusive
Yeah.
on a single design.
the only one ever to have.
well, if I knew that, we would have charged you more.
Yeah, way more, right?
So we're gonna have some cutting boards. We're gonna do a cat track, a bear track, and that's a great way to support you guys. You guys are out of your 700 square foot home.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to mention something that I'm hoping we can get figured out, but I also have always thought about this. Is another thing that I think you guys can help me with. I want to be able to make a gravestone, an easy way to make a gravestone for pets. You know, because it's like I got this one tree in my yard. I'm like, oh, that's Copper's tree, and I
Yeah.
got this other tree.
We plant a tree
Yes.
on everyone. Yeah.
You know, so I got this other tree. I'm like, oh, there's Penny's tree, and it's like, it would kind of be cool if I always thought, you know, I don't need the
Some
big
memorial
grand
plaque.
like headstone, but even a simple rock or something that you could have.
Yeah.
You think you could pull something up together?
Oh, yeah.
We've definitely thought about it before.
Yep, and we'll keep working at it. I
Yeah.
think we'll have something in a few weeks, ideally. So,
Okay, so hopefully by the time we launch this podcast, we have that ready to go too, because
Okay.
that's a big one for me that I have been actively trying to find is some way for me personally. Like I have 2 dogs, and I mean, you feel like a dick when you call, the funeral home and be like, hey,
Yeah.
it's not for Grandpa, it's for my dog. And so it's like, man, I want to find something that is in that manner that everybody has that dog, and it's like, man, if you could just do something simple. Again, I'd like to be in the $99 range. You know what I mean? So it doesn't need to be super Marlboro or anything like that. Maybe we can offer a premium line because that rock is expensive. So I know
Yeah.
some of that stuff is the cost of material, and I don't want to be the cheapest. Wood. The only problem with wood is it doesn't hold up, right?
Yeah, you can't put it
Correct.
outside.
Yeah. So you guys got some ideas of looking around and see if you can help us find that solution. Because
Yeah.
I would.
we can do that.
Yeah, I
They're
think so.
professionals.
We'll
They
figure
got
it out
this.
anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to sell them with or without us, right?
Yeah. Cool. What's been the biggest learning experience about this whole process?
Never thought about that.
Well, it started with hello. So
It all
the
started
bar
with
was
hello.
little.
It's all a learning process.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Did
yes.
you do photo editing before
No.
or work?
No, I
like,
don't
did you
know.
just
I
pick
was
this
just
up?
insane. I don't know why I did this. Like, this is just one of those.
Because you're here right now. That's
I'm
why you did
you don't
it.
want to know the funny thing is I'm a philosophy and mathematics major, and now look at me. You know,
Perfect.
no, yeah,
Philosophy and mathematics.
philosophy and
What,
mathematics.
first of all, I got the mathematics part. What's the philosophy mean?
Philosophy, basically studying philosophers, studying like I did a lot of just war theory, food philosophy, which is really actually fascinating. It talks about like the ethics.
You said the word. I'm trying to understand what the word philosophy means, and you said philosophy like 4 more times. I'm
The
like,
definition
it's like
of philosophy.
I gotta
It's
know what.
basically like taking an in-depth look
It's
of
the study
things.
of what?
Just the study of how we
Something?
think, or I mean,
Really?
one of my favorites was the ethics of food, which sounds kind of stupid or lame, but it really got me into looking at where we source things, like our
Sure.
wood and stuff, because holy smokes, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of varieties of apple trees. We're only exposed to maybe 2, so
Right.
Anywho's, but that's kind of why, our source.
So
of-
you
So it
nerd
makes
out on
sense that you
some
moved
stuff.
into this industry.
Yeah, it does kind of. I don't know. So, anyways, as far as learning experience, I think everything. I mean, we started out. I had to learn how to make a sign that said hello, learn the software. We had to learn the wood.
So how
That
did you
was-
mess the sign up? How did you mess the hello sign
Oh
up?
my gosh. It was like, I could not figure out why this thing was like, basically, it would skip down, engrave a line, skip down, and it looked like it didn't look good. So, I mean, just figuring out and then you have to figure out too is each species of wood has different densities. So your machine setting and your graphics have to relate to that.
Or is it
The
like
harder
your
the wood,
deep
the burn heat. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
and that's
is
something
different.
like our new employee, when I'm talking to her about, okay, this is set. Normally I run it at like this. However, if you pick up the wood and it just feels a certain way, you run it different. She just, it's like
When
you
you're
gotta feel
philosophizing
it. You
with
gotta
the
feel
wood,
it.
and
How's it
the
smell?
philosophy of the
Talk to
wood
it.
is a little different.
Knock it a bit, yeah. I mean, or maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. But
I would imagine there's a lot of variation, though, actually,
It
in the
is.
raw product
Yes.
that you're
Yeah.
working with. I mean, any good woodworker knows, they're looking for specific pieces
Yeah.
within the same tree source, really. I mean, it's...
yes, we went
It-
through a lot
Sorry, I'm
of trial and error.
philosophizing about trees here.
We're trying to sound
Lots of
smart as shit right
trees.
now. We're like, oh, that's funny. That's awesome. No, like I said, I'm always interested in people's backgrounds, and the fact that somebody wanted to study math, I'm like kind of
For the
blown away.
record, the math I studied was more theoretical, statistics. I
What do you
was
mean
horrible.
theoretical? Like I'm lost now. Again,
Basically,
I've been lost. I still don't quite understand
pr-
the study of math, philosophy of math.
You worked for Intel, right?
Yeah, I did.
You
but-
had a degree.
Basically, I'm horrible with numbers. I'm good with so proofs. Basically, why if an even plus an even is always an even. Have you ever thought about that?
Yep.
You have to actually write out like a page proof on why that is.
Really?
Yes.
Tell
So-
us how you got your answer. Do
Holy
you not
hell.
remember this in school?
Yeah, I'm
Thank
definitely
you.
staying
Yeah,
on
it's a
that.
lot of
I can see
geometry.
why you wanted to figure out the laser thing. It's like, I can't engrave on this one piece of wood. Let me try this little settings.
yes.
I always say that from when I worked at Intel, I was working on computer chips. I was a product engineer, technician, whatever. So the engineers would build something and we'd break it for them and figure out where the weak spots were. Well, I get to W and I'm like, dude, this is like the best job ever. It's like somebody gives me some money, they want a collar, they give me money,
I
I
send
put
the
the
collar.
collar in the box. I put a shipping label
Send it
on
away.
the box and I send it. It's like, dude, this is a hard problem. Like, you got money, I got a collar. Like, we can work a deal here. Back at Intel, I was like, why is this thing not doing this? And there was too much philosophy involved.
so much philosophy.
So I like the easy parts of just like, hey, this goes in a box, this ships a box, and we're good.
Well, I think we work well together. Like why we're so successful is because we're both have strengths in different areas. Corey is attention to detail. I mean, like just down to the way we sand the wood.
Mhm.
It's all him, So I'm a very efficient person, so put us together and pow.
What was your history? What job did you quit?
Oh, I worked for a nutraceutical company.
Oh man,
He's
So-
going to need an
So,
explanation.
So neutral what?
Nutraceuticals.
Just give me a
Vitamins.
box and a garment. I'm going to put a box and a garment
Break
in a
it
box
down
and I'm
by
gonna ship it.
piece of the word there.
So what does that do?
So we basically made vitamins for doctors to give to their patients. We worked with a lot of chiropractors and holistic doctors.
Natural healing.
Yep. So we
It's the opposite of pharmaceutical.
kind
Pretty
of,
much.
they're pretty much the same thing.
Less side effects.
Right.
There we go.
By pharmaceutical, you mean weed.
I
I think is what you're saying. I don't
No,
know.
I'm not saying
That's
that
right.
at
You guys
all.
are out there in that
That West Coast thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that area.
Those people.
Those
Those
people.
people.
All of those people up there. That's cool. So, and you guys did that in 2017. Was it a little scary to jump? What
Yeah.
was your job before? Were you working before you did it?
Okay, this is a funny confession. Okay, so the
This is the good part. Everybody
Uh-oh.
listen.
no, I've worked ever since I was 16. Like a job, I've never actually had a full-time job.
Oh, really?
Because, like, I mean, like a full-time, the most I did was actually I worked summer vacation relief at the mill in Rapids in coal. Like, I unloaded coal trucks and on track crew, so I, like, built railroad track. That was,
This is way better,
this,
right?
this is way better. Yes, my mom wouldn't let me in my house
They write songs
because I
about
was so
people
full
like
of
you.
coal. Yes, I had to actually hose off behind the house before I could come inside. That's how bad. Then we got married our last year in college, and then we had our daughter a little over a year later, and that's when I started Rough Cut. And yeah, I never did have a full-time job because I did that.
So you did that first, and he still worked for a while.
And he worked
Yep.
for a while. Then he went to a part-time working for church. And then, yeah, then he made the jump when I just was pulling my hair out. I mean, this last Christmas.
With 4 kids, I can imagine.
Well, this last Christmas season, it was insane. We slept in shifts because we had to keep the machine
Keep
running
production up.
24/7. So we slept in shifts for a couple weeks.
Yeah, that was.
For this Christmas?
Yeah.
Just because it's so busy?
We're definitely got another laser coming just so we don't have to be doing that.
Yeah.
That was insane. Plus, we had a newborn. So,
Man,
So we were
No.
sleeping in shifts anyway.
oh, sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
sleep's underrated. So what kind of dogs do you guys use? What do you hunt? Walker?
Walkers, I'm
Over
guessing.
here in Wisconsin?
For the most part, they're pretty much all local stuff.
The locals over here make fun of you guys? Because there's mostly plots and blue ticks around here, I think.
No, because our dogs are so good.
They are houndsmen. I love it.
Exactly. So what do you guys hunt? Let's talk about the dogs for a minute.
Oh, just about everything. Bears, coons, coyotes, bobcats. Every once in a while, a fox.
And you've been hunting since...
I was at my first bear tree, I think, when I was a week old. So,
So a little bit.
yeah.
He drew me in.
And then,
That was our first,
I think that was our first date, wasn't it?
well, I kind of invited myself. I asked him, he was forced to sit next to me in school, and I asked him what he was doing tonight. He said, I'm going coon hunting. I'm like, do you do that by yourself? He said, yeah, but, it's nice to have an extra light, I suppose, or, I'm like,
Slick.
I'll be there. I can hold a flashlight. That was my quote. I can
that
hold a
was your
flashlight.
that was your pickup line. Was
That's how you weed them out early.
Well,
Like,
I
don't
needed
waste
someone to
your
hold
time.
the flashlight.
So yeah, we started with coon hunting.
Did you provide the flashlight? You're like, hey, bring your own flashlight too.
Well, I knew
don't
nothing.
remember.
No, I knew nothing about hound hunting at all. Like my family's big into deer hunting. We bow hunt and everything. Never dogs. So I get there and he gives me this big old hat with this light on it and this big old battery pack. I'm like, what is going on?
Okay,
It's
weirdo.
dark, right? I'm like, okay, we'll just go. And if you can't tell, he doesn't talk much. So,
That's 'cause he knows how to listen to dogs.
so I mean, it was just me pretty much through the woods.
Couldn't have been that bad.
I mean,
That's how you weed them out. You take them early on. I tricked my wife. We were dating and well before I got into dogs. And then it's like, wow, that was a shift in gears real fast.
Yeah.
we used to take my buddy's girlfriend's carp shooting the first couple times, and that kind of weeded them out pretty quick.
Yeah.
A few fish guts and slime all over them, and
Yeah, it does a
the
trick.
good ones stick around.
Well, we got a short one today because I'm hungry.
Today has flown really like
This Wisconsin deal is like it's one of our busiest. I mean, it's
it's a
just
busy
insane.
3 days.
Well, Wisconsin's a great place.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
It's a show we try to hit just because we get so many customers, and I mean, when you see people walking around here with W stuff on, and it's just really humbling for us that we get it. We're so welcomed in this convention, and so it's like, man, I brought everybody out this year so we could meet them. And the nice thing is we can slip off and do a podcast like this.
And there's still people in the booth.
Yeah, there's still people keeping the booth up, which should be closed now. But I did tell them, like, a couple of them gals were like, "I'm hungry, buddy. Don't be gabbing too long on this podcast because we're ready
They
for
get
dinner."
angry.
Well, we're always available if you want to talk about hunting in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So.
We'll have to do a follow-up.
Yes.
We'll do that. We're gonna get this up. I think we're gonna have cutting boards, Jason. Like this is all scratched out on our thing, so we're gonna
Buddy's
set a
notes are
schedule
very elaborate here.
because
People should see
we're.
them.
I think it'll be a couple weeks before we get this done. So before you guys leave, let's get a plan together for these cutting boards, and we'll
Mhm.
have them. We'll have a cat version, a bear version, and a coon version, a W exclusive. So basically, our logo will be somewhere in the cutting board or something like that. You guys can
Sure.
do, and then we may be able to expand it if people really want something else or whatever. We can do that, and then I'm really hopeful that we can have a way to have a outdoor grade stone rock.
Yeah.
There's some shipping that we got to figure out, because it's heavy, and
Yep.
so I'm hoping we can be around the $100 mark, but I'm kind of thinking it might have to be a little bit more because of shipping. I mean, shipping
It's not
light
going
stuff
down.
is a bitch, but shipping heavy stuff is really bad. And I have a couple contacts that do, I think, regular headstones that we can kind of try to connect you guys with, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But let's see if we can find a source for that, because I got 2 of them that I need to buy. So we'll do the test run on my 2 because I got 2 two dogs that I know I want to have. I've been kind of actively looking on Etsy or whatever, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on. So
Are you guys on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that?
Yep. So
Yep, both.
Facebook and Instagram. So at Rough Cut Company.
rough, spell rough. R.
ROUGH.
So you got to spell it right too. It's not like
yeah,
rough.
not
like
RUFF.
Not like rough. No.
Okay.
Not
That was
Bart.
the second sign she made.
That's funny. Yeah.
So ROU
ROUGH.
G.
CUT. Company. COMPANY.
A-N.
Dot COM.
Not COM. Like that's a
like
$5
like the
handle
spelling
right
bee
there.
over again.
Yeah, right.
At least you didn't have to stand up and say that one.
And they can see all your products there too, not just what we're carrying. Like they can go and look at the custom
Correct.
Yep.
photo engraving and
Yep. We'll have, we have everything up there. So
let them know you heard about them on the W podcast.
yeah,
I
definitely
mean,
do
Absolutely.
that. We want to know where people are coming from.
Yeah, well, we want
That's
to
huge.
support companies that are number 1 houndsmen, number 2 that you guys got a family, and sorry, I'm typing in Rough Cut Company on Facebook to see. You probably don't want me following you because I got banned off. I'm not banned, but I was.
Are you on
Facebook?
Facebook again? Or are you still in the
Is that it right
clink?
there? That's the one.
That's us.
Okay. So yeah, find these guys, but like I said, I walked by, I looked at it, it was really quick to be like, hey, this is something unique. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for something as a gift or whatever, you guys can definitely do that.
Yep.
On the custom stuff, I think we're going to stay away from the custom stuff just because I think it makes it, I'd love to have that on our website, and I think maybe one day we can figure out a way to do that, but I'll just be honest, I'm like, man, it's just a mess, and I don't want to cross that bridge. So we're going to come up with a couple products that help support you guys. You can get a cool cutting board, a tombstone or a memorial plaque or something, a rock, and let's see what that does. And then if we can expand on that, you guys have a bunch of other stuff on your website that you do. You said you did some chew.
Yep. So we got custom antler dog chews.
Dog chews, rings, antler rings.
Antler rings.
Oh, nice.
So, anyways, roughcutcompany.com. Your name,
I'm Kim.
Kim,
I'm Corey.
Corey. Anything else you guys want to say?
I actually would love to know how W got its name.
Oh,
You're going to answer that question till
I
the day
mean,
you need one of these
yeah.
tombstones, buddy. I'm going to jump in. Somebody at the field trial, new to hounds. Like I'm parked next to him at Elk
New to
Creek.
him.
They got my camping spot, like the primo camping spot. And
You're like, you pull up and you're like, hey, get out of my spot. asshole.
I'm not going to do that.
The
They
W
beat me
truck
to
just
it.
shows up and you kick the new guy out. Is that what you're saying?
I was traveling with my wife and 2 of our 3.
She got out and told him to get the hell out.
No, she overheard W. Why wouldn't they just put a W instead? And I died. Of course, we did not correct them or tell them the story because that's your deal.
So my last name is Woodbury,
Okay.
and I started with I started W Graphics, and so I wanted Woodbury Graphics, but I didn't want to be like Woodbury Graphics.
Why is that? because this was in
Oh.
the days of the yellow
because
pages.
it was before the
if those
internet.
still
and so
exist.
you flip up the yellow pages or whatever, and I didn't want to be in the back of the yellow pages. Or, I thought it was important not to have.
AAA graphics
Yeah,
was
so I was
taken.
like, and you're like, okay, we can do AAA graphics, but that was not original. So I want to be somewhere, not in the very first, because you never pick the first guy, and you don't go to the last page. I want to be in the D's. I was like, yeah, the D's should be good. And it was a clever way of saying W. So it was W Graphics. We started with decals. I had a vinyl cutter. Had we been more successful at that, I'd probably have a laser engraver and I'd be doing what you guys do. But we sucked at just selling decals.
You had slave labor for all the shows. I
yeah,
remember hearing the stories.
we would go to shows and, dude, I'd stay up all night trying to peel decals and get stickers going. And we made those,
What a mess.
Calvin pissing on this decal. You know what I mean?
Take vacation. Didn't you
Hell,
take
'cause-
vacation time?
Yeah, I'd take a week off of vacation from Intel and I'd make all these little, we had like honk if you bitch slapped an environmentalist. That was a really good seller. When people get drunk, and we should bring those
we
to the
should
show.
bring those out here. We'd sell a pile of them.
Oh man, that was a good one. But we just make just funny decals, stickers and stuff, and we'd go to a show and sell them. But no, Woodbury Graphics, because my last name was Woodbury, but I didn't want the company to be branded on my name, so I wanted a piece of it. But if I never wanted W to be about me. You know what I mean? Like W is about the customers, and I didn't start out this way. It wasn't like I woke up when I was doing W Graphics. I was like, I'm going to make a name that's not about the customers, but I just knew I didn't want my name on the business license. And it also allowed me to pivot because I'd failed on a couple of businesses. I had AAA cleaning, which was like we would get contracts for Walmart parking lots and street sweep parking lots, and that didn't work out. That was I had like 4 contracts in Virginia, but I didn't want to live in Virginia, and so I tried to labor it out, and it just didn't work. We tried like a clothing line like Tough Girl, so it was like we'd put prints on T-shirts for girl hunting, and we didn't follow through with that. So we'd had a couple failures of things that we tried, and so I had what I found was the word W. I figured, well, if I can't sell decals, then I'll go to hunting supplies. And if I can't sell hunting supplies, then I'll go try and sell guns. And if I can't sell guns, then I'm going to go sell vacuum cleaners. Or I can just take the W vacuum cleaners. Luckily, the graphics didn't work out. Or it did because I was W Graphics for a long time. We sold supplies. But when we started picking up steam and getting I don't want to say a following, but a base of customers, W Supply, I changed the name from W Graphics to W Supply, and I went to W Hunting Supply. I didn't do Hound Supply because I didn't want to niche myself down to Hound Supplies, although we've kind of stayed right there, but I just didn't know. Just sometimes you don't know about the future, and so I've always, the more failures I had, the more generic I'm like, okay, I got to be careful because I might have to pivot sometime.
So, not trying to span this out, I know you guys are hungry, but why do people want to follow you or have your brand? Like, what is it?
That's a really good question. Jason.
And when did you come on board?
I came on. It was 5 years in February, and I owned a competing
Yeah, he only knows that
company.
because he's supposed to get a gun. Which, if you guys can engrave guns right now, I'm with
Buddy's got a job for you.
We
I got a gun getting engraved.
When I win that 4570 out there, we'll
Yeah.
just send it home with them. No, we were competing companies, and when I decided to sell, he called me, and it was I wasn't real nice to you, I don't think, was I? I think I said, "Are you buying or asking?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Well, call me back when you know," and I hung up.
You're just straightforward, that's all.
Yeah, well, we're in a lot different place now, and what it took was me coming on and seeing how the brand revolves around the customers, because I was very much, it was a small business, and it was, you knew everybody and you did business on a handshake. It was very old school. I was raised by self-employed people. My entire family pretty much was self-employed. So when I onboarded with W after the merger, you just started seeing it. And the longer I was here, the more I saw it. So hands down, I would say it's our relationships. This right here is the base of everything. And it's like that with our customers. And I think that's why they're so true to the brand, is they know that something happens, we have questions, we have problems. At least they have someone that they can kind of rely on versus calling, I don't want to say like direct manufacturers or whatever, where you're a number. It's a lot closer feel because we really do keep it personal.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd say in the beginning, a lot of it was so you got the smart guys, you know, like Garmin, the engineers, and so what really separated us in the very beginning was I came from an engineering world, so I came from, you know, product development with Intel, which is computer chips, you know, and so when I started getting into the Garmin and the tracking systems, I could speak both the houndsman language and the engineer language.
He's the hound liaison, like
Yeah.
really.
So I can speak to an engineer and be like, "Hey, your timing's off on this or whatever," because I understand what's happening on the technology side of the equation. So I could talk to those engineers. With the hound guy, they're like, it don't work." What do you mean? It don't
What's
work?
it doing? I don't know. It's not working.
It's not tracking my dog. I'm like, well, here's some steps we got to take. You know what I mean? And so the engineer's like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, it don't work is not a viable communication method that I can take something and fix it with.
And I feel like the main point behind that, though, is they're looking at a product. Like, that's the end. Like, that's their baby. They're trying to take care of that product and make it good, you know, so that they can bring it to market and continue to sell. Where if you aren't in what we do, like, I go back to Andrew every time. When he went hunting with me, we lost service on one of my dogs. I know where that dog's going. Like, I know how to get it back. But honestly, you could sense like the worry. And I said, don't ever forget that, because that's exactly what our customers feel like.
Right.
So it's just,
Yeah.
it is niche down to a point, but in a good way, because it's relative, I think.
Yeah, we hunt. We are actively in this sport, and so that relationship that we have with the customer, it's like we can, like, I'll be in a meeting with Garmin. I'll be like, this is a big deal to our customer. You know, like, they'll be like, what do you want new and this and that? And I can do it. Here's what I want. I want you to track my dog really good, like,
That's it.
really
Right.
good. We'll worry about all the fake the fun
All
stuff
the
later.
fluff later.
But we're out there to hunt. You know, that's why, you know, Garmin, these cell phones, you know, everything gets into these like new gadgets, and you can do this and that and this, and it's like, dude, we're out there for the dog. You know what I mean? So
We just
so
want
you
our
can-
dog back.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to make sure that my dog gets back, and tracking my dog. And so sometimes, you know, with the company like Garmin or whatever, they want to add these upsales. You know, it's like, we have this
Yep.
new product. So that's the way the world goes, is we got to have something new. We got to do, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, but we've been using the same damn freaking telemetry collar for 20 years. You know, it just beeps. That's all it does.
Yeah.
Make sure the damn thing beeps. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every
Dad still
time.
uses it.
Yeah, my dad still puts the old telemetry collars
Yeah.
on the
Just in
dogs.
case.
And when you pull that magnet out, that damn thing beeps.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
Every time.
it's like beep. And that's how that shit works. And
That was the first thing he taught me. Always pull that magnet off the collar.
yeah.
And how many times
Don't.
have you forgot?
I never did, because he means
Is that a
so
true
much
story?
to me.
Uh,
You mean so much to me. I made sure I never forgot, because I would feel terrible if I
I
lost
think you
it,
just
so.
blamed me.
God,
Sure.
we've all forgot.
So, did that answer your question? It was just relationship.
It did, yeah. I guess it's just the idea that, why does someone want a hat with W on it? You know, why does someone want to wear a shirt instead of just having a dog on the shirt? Why does it need to have W? You know, I
That
just
is
find
something
that fascinating.
It's really fascinating to me too, because I'm like,
You're
wow,
you're
I'm
preaching to the
humbled.
choir. I mean, really.
Because we've made shirts
Tell me
sometimes
your
that don't have
secrets,
the
I mean.
W, and they don't want they want to have W.
want
Yeah, they
it
want
on
that.
there.
And
Yeah.
so it's a community. I mean, it's
Right.
honestly feeling a part of and a connection with the brand, and
Well, it's grown
It-
so much, though.
it's like these guys were with us from the beginning. They're helping.
Sure.
Like I brought my kids to Idaho, their dinner over there. We went to a banquet, and I got she's gonna be 11 and 13, my boy, and I brought them in there, and it's just the same thing. We'd never been in that room before, but everyone was so welcoming. You see W hats, and you know, my daughter's like, Dad, he's got a W sticker on his shirt. And I'm like, yeah, baby.
It's
yeah, she
mind
does."
blowing for those kids.
Yeah, Jason just did it in
At the field trial.
California, and so I had a talk. We were walking. Jason took off with the living. You guys went drinking or whatever, and I had the kids, so I was like, I'll stay and clean up. So anyways, we were walking back to the truck, and I had a little moment there where I talked to my kids, and I was like, because you're talking about your house, you know what I mean? Like I said, we had a 900 square foot home, and it was a 2-bedroom, you know, and my boy had a room, and the dog had pissed in the carpet, so we pulled the carpet out. We were going to redo the carpet, we never did, so it had, you know, plywood floor and stuff, and this wasn't too long ago. This was like 4 years ago.
They were in the house when I started.
And my little girl didn't even have a room. You know what I mean? Like, she had a corner in her living room that she would like huddle her stuff there, and her friends would come over and be like, "Where's your room?" And she's like, "Well, this is my stuff corner," you know. And anyways, I told, you know, my kids, I was like, these people at this event, they helped us. They grew our company to something that we could afford to build this new house. You know what I mean? And so they got their own rooms, you know, and so they, you know, I let them pick out the different things on the house, and we got to build that house. But I told them, I said, don't ever forget that these are the people. This is the reason we're successful. These are the people that support us, and these are our customer base, and we should always remember that, because it's not, you know, it can be easily forgotten sometimes that you get into the height of the W and all this and whatever, and it's like,
it's fun being the cool kid.
It is. It's fun.
I was working against the cool kids for a long time, you know, but it's, yeah. I think a lot of it too comes from like just the mission and the plan. Like, Buddy is a big plan guy. You see it through. You have something and you work within this. And it's always been take care of the customers.
And then the plan gets screwed up, and we pivot and we go.
And we try another one.
And it's exactly why I'm saying, we were talking about this photo thing. I'm like, that's not going to work. I just see the problems with that model. Yeah. And so I would rather send customers directly to you guys, because you guys have a model that works. And I can just tell you, if I wanted to make $1, I'd be all over that. I just look at that and going, it's better for me to just hand the customer straight to you. And if a customer wants this 8x10 or this photo engraved, I would rather hand that customer into capable hands and take care of that customer and be like, I don't need to make $1 on this. You know what I mean? Like, we'll have some things that we can make $1 on or whatever, that we can make it easier and it's convenient for the customer and all that kind of stuff. That's what I do. You know what I mean? So there's times where I'm like, dude, I would rather my customer go straight to you guys. And so that's
Don't worry, we'll take good care of them.
Yeah, I can sense that. And otherwise I wouldn't have offered it. You know what I mean? I really
we work with some really good vendors.
I'm glad we caught your eye. Definitely. Yeah. You know, the second best.
If you would have sold that cutting board, I would have just kept walking. I would have been like, no cutting board, no nothing. But it would just happen to be. I think those things happen for a reason. Not to get all mushy, but
for sure,
the fact that cutting board broke and you guys had a cutting board there, it was a sign that I was like,
don't get philosophical on us. It's true. Things just, they come together for a reason. I fully believe that, you know, timing is everything.
Yeah. Anyways, so to wrap this up, I was thinking about the flashlight story, and did you guys see that joke? It's like, it says, you can't offend me. I've held the flashlight for my dad.
I have.
I always liked that one. I was like, that's a good joke. So, all right, guys, roughcutcompany.com. If you're at Wisconsin Bear Hunter Association, you guys are there. A lot of people are going to see you. Hopefully you guys sell a pile here. I think you guys are sponsoring Houndsman XP.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think you're getting a lot of exposure in the hound world, and I fully think that the hound community is an awesome community to be a part of.
We take care of our own. I mean,
yes,
really.
And like we said, we'll take care of, you know, your photos, your anything.
Anything with a hound on it gets special treatment.
It really does, actually. Yeah. We know how to make the dog look good. Yeah. Especially walkers.
You can even
especially walker.
Make a walker look good. Then we're really
Those are a good breed to pick to be good at, because there's lots of them.
All right, guys.